Although Trump and his allies, including most notably Attorney General Bill Barr, are trying to stop publication, it appears the horse is out of the barn and all kinds of damaging information is already coming out via the mainstream media channels. On hearing the arguments being made by legal minds, it sounds like they won't be able to stop the whole thing from hitting the shelves and tablets this coming Tuesday. This book seems like yet another episode pointing to the same conclusion. Trump is a giant ignoramus and a world-class crook on top. He's also completely unfit for the job he holds and should and will be rejected by the American people this November. The Neptune station this month was predicted to be hard on its popularity, and who knows what else, since it still has weeks of influence to go. But we've now gone from egg on his face, from trying to manipulate the Bible in his own favor, to hiding in the bunker fearful of protesters outside the White House, to mostly botching his response to the racial unrest, to lying through his teeth about the dangers of coronavirus, and insisting on holding a rally in Tulsa while requiring that all entrants must sign a waiver, to now hearing from a lifelong hawkish Republican who is outing him as the criminal imbecile that he in fact is. We also have to add that as this latest information assault spews out into public view, Mars is exactly square his sun. At minimum, he probably has smoke coming out of his ears. And now, in the near-term profile, Mercury is going retrograde in the middle of Cancer and makes its way back to do a backward entry into his Access Hollywood T-square, the place that gives him the most trouble in his chart. By early July, it'll get there, and wouldn't you know it, Mercury goes backward to the very same degrees it occupied June 1st, and this is due to happen July 11th, from where it goes forward and then runs over the Hollywood Access T one more time to take us all the way to July 22nd or so. So, great. First, backward over the corpse he left there in the early June Bible walk, and then forward over it one more time for good measure. All the while, the Neptune station on the 24th is radiating in both directions, basically encompassing all of June and July. So, there goes half of his summer, completely. And no worries, because when we get to August and September, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto will take over the torture. Trump's chart is a disaster. And given that to all of his venality and corruption, we have to add an obvious lack of self-awareness, he is extremely unlikely to navigate his really tough transits and progressions in any way helpful to himself. In other words, he is screwed, plain and simple. Bolton, on the other hand, can probably count on raking in the dough from this book, but he will also have to face heat from all sides, since Democrats are rightfully upset with his non-action earlier this year, when testimony in the impeachment trial might have made the difference toward getting rid of our dangerous and malevolent president, and the mob that supports Trump is hating him for speaking out in this way. His birth time is unknown, but if he happens to be born near the end of the day, the Cancer moon would get way too much attention from the transiting Capricorn 3-planet conjunction, which would not be good at all. There is also the possibility he might have late cardinal degrees connected to either the ascendant and or the midheaven. That also wouldn't be good. Either way, however, it is certain the 23 plus Venus in Libra guarantees he will get attention from those Capricorn planets all the way to the election. So I would counsel him to lay low for the most part once he gets the book out and just stay home and count his money. Being too public during the summer months would seem extremely risky to me. I will finish by stating, in case anyone isn't sure by now, that I don't think much of either of these men. They are both clear examples of the corruption that has taken over the Republican Party. Trump, because everything he does is either stupid or corrupt and nearly always dangerous as well. Bolton, because he's like a fireman that shows up to put out the fire after the building has burned to the ground. It is unbelievable that a lifelong public servant would fail to live up to his duty to serve the Constitution and especially the public by saying what he knew in timely fashion, back in the early winter months. Now, he essentially confirms 100% what Democrats were saying during the impeachment, but it's too late to make a difference. Bolton, like most Republicans these days, is interested in himself and in making money, so he waited months to tell us about it. At the same time, if I compare these two odious creatures, I gotta say in the Einsteinian realm of things, Trump is light years ahead of Bolton in his corruption, venality, and stupidity. So if I go with the axiom that says the enemy of my enemy is my friend, I'm glad Bolton put this out. And I hope it becomes another marker, however small, in dooming Trump to the failure he so richly deserves.